can do. They lost almost 800,000 troops in that fight.
Right.
We could say Putin's wild, Putin's aggressive, but Putin can't fight. And he's got to realize that he's up against a president right now that doesn't want war, that will do whatever he can for peace. But if you push Donald Trump and this DOD, we're going to hurt you, and we're going to hurt you for generations to come.
There we go again. This is the problem with some Western mainstream media and their penchant for inviting ignorant talkatives as experts to comment on issues that they don't understand on their shows. Hello and welcome again to the Edupolitics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on the disgusting choice of journalism practiced by the Western mainstream media of today. According to this ignorant expert, Russia has already lost over 800,000 troops in this conflict. If indeed Russia already lost 800,000 troops in this conflict, then Ukraine has lost over 8 million troops, as the kill rate is 10-1 in favor of Russia. How could the dominant force, with all the resources available to it, be the ones losing them much than the force that is still borrowing missiles and kidnapping men from the streets to go and fight for them? How did such ignorant ones come by such misinformation? If Donald Trump really wanted peace, he would have stopped the U.S. military's intelligence sharing with Ukraine, the sending of weapons, as well as money to this Azov Nazi regime in Kiev the first day he took office. But what did Trump do? He continued sending weapons to Ukraine with one hand, whilst pretending to be stopping the conflict with another hand. Which genuine person does that? And what can Trump and his DOD do, especially to a superpower like Russia? Wasn't it in that Oval Office in the US where a beggar like Zelensky sat and insulted Trump and his government to their faces? And what did Trump do? Is it a superpower like Russia that this man thinks a toothless bulldog like Trump could hurt in any way? Indeed, these US braggarts are really full of themselves. Let's take a listen to his further hallucinations.
So joining me now to discuss all of this and what to make of what feels like rising tensions between Russia and perhaps the United States is Medal of Honor recipient Staff Sergeant David Bellavia. David, it's always great to see you. Thanks for being here with us today. I keep thumbing through the newspaper on a daily basis, David, and it seems like I'm getting more news about new lines of potential tension, and I hear it from President Trump when it comes to our relationship with Russia. Where do you think this is headed?
This is bad. The ISIS challenge that President Trump dominated and showed what American force could do, that really kind of opened up the world. Look, President Trump clearly wants peace in the world, but if you push President Trump, he's gonna punch back. This is a much greater challenge. Look, we could all point to the reasons why we got here. It's clear that Putin had no respect for Jake Sullivan, Susan Rice, and the beta males of the State Department. But we're here now. And so this is Secretary Hegseth has now chosen to put 20,000 troops. We're looking at Romania. We're looking at Poland. The eastern flank of NATO was exposed.
What a joke. Isn't this laughable? What kind of military expert hears about 20,000 troops spread out in Poland and Romania to fight a Russia that has over 1.2 million troops in reserves and calls this a success plan. Let's continue listening.
Finland and Sweden are the two newest members of NATO. Finland has already reported that Russia has invaded their airspace. Finland and Sweden are not in NATO for the T-shirt. They're in this because they understand the real threat that they have from Russia. This is a really dangerous spot. So we've got about 90,000 to 100,000 between that area that are there. That is going to send a message that, you know, you don't want to negotiate with the Pope. You don't want to negotiate for peace. Time's running out, and Putin's got to make a choice here.
Isn't it interesting how these ignorant experts assume that they know President Putin so well that they could even tell what he could be eating at a specific time? The idea that President Putin cares about what a President Trump thinks is the loudest exposure of these ignorant ones. Why is it so difficult for these noisemakers to talk about addressing the root causes of this conflict at a proper negotiating table? Didn't the Soviets negotiate Germany's unification, which was to their disadvantage at the time? So why can't the same be done with Ukraine? You see how ignorant and dumb such experts like this man is?
Nobody wants World War III. President Trump ran on the ability to basically avoid the expansion of wars for the United States across the world. But it seems like that olive branch has been offered. It seems like Vladimir Putin has been welcomed to the negotiating table, and it seems like he is the one who is unwilling to engage with President Trump in finding some...
Really? It is President Putin who doesn't want to stop the conflict? All well-thinking people who are abreast with global news are aware that it was the US under Joseph Biden who instructed Boris Johnson of the UK to force Ukraine to stop negotiating the peace process in March 2022 in Istanbul. But for an ignorant reporter like this one, who is only given a script to read out, it is Putin who doesn't want peace. How could such ignorant and dumb people be claiming to be any media authority for innocent people to listen to their misinformation and believe whatever they say? Let's continue with a painful noise.
The election of Donald Trump signals the end of that shopping spree. So now Putin believes that if he can just be touching home base when this thing ends, whatever buffer zone will be negotiated, whatever demilitarized zone that'll be negotiated, if he's touching home, he's going to get that and get to keep it. He's at the end of his spree, and he believes that he can hold on to whatever he can get. It's not well thought out. It's desperate. But let's be honest, Russia showed us all they can do. They lost almost 800,000 troops in that fight. You know,
Right.
We could say Putin's wild, Putin's aggressive, but Putin can't fight. And he's got to realize that he's up against a president right now that doesn't want war, that will do whatever he can for peace. But if you push Donald Trump and this DOD, we're going to hurt you, and we're going to hurt you for generations to come.
I don't know if your ears...
So you see, with experts like these, what do we need amateurs for? It is ignorant braggarts like these ones that have pushed the Nazi regime in Kiev to continue this absurdity that has destroyed their country till now. Hopefully, these ignorant amateur dump experts would not be surprised if they continue pushing until Russia levels Ukraine, whilst the West looks on helplessly. So what do you think, folks? Does the world need such ignorant amateur experts to continue muddying the waters with their ugly noises? Would provoking the bear solve any of the problems we already have regarding this conflict? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day. Reports coming from the People's Bank of China states that under the joint witness of the Chinese Premier Li Qiang and the Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto, Pan Gongsheng, governor of the People's Bank of China, China and Indonesia signed a memorandum of understanding on the 25th of March 2025. The intent is to establish a cooperation framework to promote bilateral transaction settlement in local currencies. Hello and welcome again to the Geopolitics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on how China is gradually breaking the dollar chain that is being used as a weapon to bully weak countries by the United States. The MOU expands and upgrades the previous agreement of September 30th, 2022. The newly signed MOU will broaden the use of local currency settlement to cover all transactions, including capital and financial accounts, beyond just current account transitions and direct investments. So what do you think? Are we getting close to kissing the dollar goodbye? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.
I have the pleasure to name this ship HMS Glasgow. May God bless her and all who sail on her.